Listen, this is a special edition of Sean Unfiltered where I'm going to break down gaslighting. So, for those of you who may be just joining, welcome to my channel, Sean Unfiltered, where I dive deep. I go in on a variety of topics, anywhere from television, pop culture, commentary, social commentary, and faith. And this has just been a highly debated topic around gaslighting that's come up lately. The word, to me, in my opinion, is way overused and misapplied. And really saw a lot of debate around the use of this word when it applied to Zack and Michaela, our favorite couple from Married at First Sight, season 13. And we got to see some of this in episode 14 that recently aired last week. So I'm going to break that down. I'm going to bring in some expert opinions from some folks across YouTube that are doctors and have them describe. I'm going to show some video clips, them describing what gaslighting is. I'm also going to bring in some of the footage from the recent episode of Married at First Sight. And we're going to break this down because part of me just really wants to put this to bed. And hopefully, we can reach a general consensus around what gaslighting is and what it's not, and how, when we do apply it, how we should apply it, and perhaps how we should not be using the word so often in certain situations. So I'm going to start out by showing a video. Bear with me. This is my first time really pulling together content in this way. So first I'm going to bring in a video where we see a doctor describe exactly what gaslighting is. And then after that, we'll watch a little quick clip of interaction that Zack and Michaela had. All right. So just to set it up, this is a podcast called MedCircle, hosted by Kyle Kittleson. And he has on a guest Dr. Romani Durvasulo. So I might be messing up her name. Forgive me. But you'll see her in the clip. So hold on one second. I'm going to go right to that.
Although Callie's getting an education.
Yeah, Callie, yeah. I mean, I bet there's narcissistic dogs.
Oh, there are. Okay, so we just filmed a series about narcissistic abuse. You can check out the link in this video description to learn more about that. But in this video, we're talking about gaslighting. Yeah. What is that?
So gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse. It's where a person doubts the reality of another person, leaving that other person very, very confused. Gaslighting is sort of a signature tool of the narcissist, and they're often engaging in it to protect their fragile egos, to keep the world in line with their own reality, with little regard of how much it hurts another person when we doubt theirs. So again, it's very much a tool of manipulation, of emotional abuse, of, again, second guessing someone else's reality.
And there are there are lots of things to look out for, but we're going to go through three of them today. What's the first one?
The first one is when somebody says to you, you're too sensitive, or you have no right to feel that way. When you do that, you immediately tell them that their emotional world is invalid and you're judging them for it. You have no right to feel that way, as though you are judge and jury on their emotional state.
Right.
Okay. So what that does is it makes a person literally doubt their feeling, and a feeling is a spontaneous experience. So now it's almost like telling someone, you must be too hot, and they're perfectly comfortable, or telling someone they're hungry when they're not.
Okay. So hopefully everybody saw that, right? At the end of the day, you're trying to change someone's reality, right? So gaslighting, one of the inherent parts of it is trying to change their reality. In the example that the doctor used, if it's hot and you're telling them that it's not hot, right? So these are the things that we want to be looking out for if someone is gaslighting someone else, or if you feel like you're being gaslit, right? The person is telling you something that you absolutely know to be true, but they're trying to convince you that it's not. And it's a tool of manipulation, right? So they are manipulating you, trying to set up the situation so that you think something alternate than what you think or feel, right? Very important. So one, where does this word come from? Where does it come from? So hopefully at this point it's used so much, hopefully everybody's Googled it, but it comes from a film called Gaslight, where a husband was trying to make his wife think she was insane, right? He did this in order to steal from her, right? So he would change out the lights in their home to make her think that she was going crazy, right? So that's where the term came from, right? And it is creeped up in our local, not our local, but our current lexicon, our verbiage. And now folks are just using it all across the board, right? For everything, right? We get in an argument, I disagree, I tell you something, now I'm gaslighting you. No, that's not gaslighting. It is a tool and a means to manipulate somebody, to try to make them think they're crazy, or try to re-alter facts that they know to be true. So these are the things that we really want to make sure that we are looking out for if somebody is gaslighting us, and if we are in fact potentially gaslighting someone else, right? So next, I want to share the recent clip of one of the episodes. So we'll look at that real quick, and we'll see the episode with Zack and Michaela as they are in the bed while the argument escalates, okay?
Tonight.
I'll go back.
On now.
Yeah. Help me. Were the ping pong table, that was gaslighting her, right? The benches, they gaslight her. They gaslit her, right? They told her to knock them over, right? So at what point do we say Michaela is responsible for her behavior, right? And it's a shame, because we have to go back and forth, and it's just so hotly debated. And again, I'm not saying everybody can't see it, but there's a population out there that just wants to make Zack complicit in her behavior. And that to me is really bothersome, where we have to try to blame somebody else for other people's actions. And when somebody is acting out, we want to call it something else. We want to minimize it. When if it's another person, we don't give them that same leverage, right? Sometimes when we identify with someone too closely, or a person so closely, we just want to give them the benefit of the doubt so bad. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why can't a fact be a fact? There is no gaslighting here. I don't see it. And most people don't see it. We saw the definition. There was no one's alternate reality being questioned. Now, some would say, oh, Zack was doing it all along. He triggered her to get to that point. Really? Really? So he is responsible for her destroying that property, for her having that outburst? That's his responsibility? There's something that he did that contributed to that? When do we as people take accountability for our own actions? If I make a mistake, if I do something harmful to someone else, or I react on my emotions and I lose my cool, I'm responsible for that. Why does someone else have to be responsible for another person's actions, right? Outside of threatening that person with bodily harm and they're defending themselves, why? Why do we do this? It really puzzles me. It just puzzles me to no end why we want to defend this behavior. And some people have said in some other YouTube comments that some of the people that defending Michaela's behavior are people that have done the very thing. So they're wrestling with themselves and wanting to justify their own behavior. Listen, if you can't recognize your wrongs, then how are you going to ever do better? When you want to look to justify somebody else's actions, so that you don't feel bad for things that you've done in your past. No, you need to own that. You need to own the mistakes that you make. And if you make a mistake, you need to own it. And this is a problem that we see in many instances. People don't want to take accountability. A lot of times the blame gets shifted left and right. And we talk about things that happened in our past and our childhood traumas. Those things very well do exist, right? But we are responsible for getting those healed as adults. We need to own those things that are troubling us and causing us to do things that we shouldn't and get them fixed. We can't keep the blame game going. And if we keep doing that, then terms like gaslighting are going to be overused and misapplied to the wrong person. So I just want everybody to just, if you were on the side of the fence that were blaming Zack or blaming somebody else for the actions that you did, rethink that, right? Look at what's inside of you that maybe needs to change. And I'll be the first one to say this, things that I've done in my past that I'm not proud of. I've had reactions to things that I'm not proud of, but I have to own that. I can't blame somebody else for me losing my cool or a mistake that I made or saying the wrong thing to somebody, right? I've never done anything like that. But at the end of the day, I've made mistakes. None of us are perfect, right? So let's just be a little bit more open to not blaming other people when we're adults and we make mistakes. And let's also not just be so quick to empathize with somebody a little too much, give them too much wiggle room. When they do wrong, we got to call people out. And when we don't call people out, they continue to do things and things continue to escalate, right? So this example that we saw of Michaela, it's not to demonize her, to criminalize her, but it's for us to kind of use almost as a mini social experiment of how do you react when you see a wrong action? And especially if it's somebody that you know or somebody that you identify with. Are you quick to call that person out? Are you quick to let them know that perhaps they have a wrong approach for the way that they're doing things? And if you don't, why don't you? Right? I want us to think about that. You know, I want us to really question those things that we see sometimes and not be so quick to minimize it and call folks out if they're doing things that are wrong. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, again, thank you for joining. I hope you got a little bit of insight and my different unfiltered opinion on this particular topic. I encourage you all to like, share, subscribe to Sean Unfiltered. I've got the description box down, with some information about some of the clips that you did see in this recent episode. So again, thank you for joining my channel. Please come back. More content coming. Appreciate you all and have a great night.